Hi YouTube, Biofusion here, and today we're going to wrap my Ford Fusion fog lights. I have a 2017. This is going to be my first time ever wrapping fog lights. I did a set of headlights last year on my Fusion, and I will post pictures up in the top corner. The three main tools you're going to need today is a knife, a squeegee, and a heat gun. And then you're going to need your film. I'm using a film from Amazon. It's a green Trimillion tint. It's really nice. Lasts quite a bit. And I will put a link down in the description below. And without further ado, let's get into it. To start with is going to be the flat surface. It's going to be the easiest way to get a general idea of how it's going to stick to the headlight versus trying to do your corners and then the middle. And some of these films are kind of a pain in the butt to get this wrapping off. And with this film, you don't need to add water. Some require it, some don't. This one you can just apply straight to the light and then start squeegeeing from there. So just lay it down flat, like so. And then you'll take your squeegee and you'll just... And you will get some bubbles at first, but that's okay because once you start using your heat gun, then all those bubbles will start to disappear. So don't worry about the bubbles because they will go away over time. Now, if they don't, then you can get a little pin and poke little holes in, which will allow the air to come through and make it easier for those bubbles to go away. Alright. Just get a couple of these little bubbles out. I usually try and get the big bubbles out and worry about the little ones later when I use heat. So here's kind of how it'll look on the fog light itself. It looks really, really good. And you will see scratch marks as there is a protective film over this to help keep scratches off the main film itself. So when you peel this off, it'll look really nice, really clean, and you won't have to worry about any of those defects or anything like that. So the next step that I like to do is take the knife and then you will kind of trace around the fog light. And don't get too close because you want a little bit of overlap for when you use your heat to go around it. Now, on some lights it will look ugly, but you can kind of stuff it behind the bumper or a trim piece or something like that. I'm not saying it's the best way to do it, but that's kind of how I've learned and I've done it. So what we'll do, we'll get this laid down, and then we'll start right here, and we'll just go with the form of the headlight, or fog light, my bad, like that. Super simple. And if you mess up, do not worry, because the film that I got, they always send a little bit of extra just in case. So it's always helpful to order just a little bit more. That way if you do tend to mess up, then you can just redo it again and keep trying from there. It'll take a little bit of time if you've never done it before, but it's really fun and sometimes can be super relaxing. So what we'll do is we'll squeegee this back out a little bit. So alright, like that. then we'll start on the other side. And mine will not be the straightest cut ever because my hands are not the steadiest. So that's why I rely on being able to kind of hide it behind a bumper or just whatever I can hide it behind, because it is not the best work. So whatever makes you more comfortable to try and do. I mean, you can use a knife, you can use scissors, anything that just makes you to do a little bit better. That way you like it and be happy with it. Alright, so now that we got most of the access cut off, it's kind of coming to life. Let the camera focus on it a little bit, hopefully. There we go. So, and you can still see I have a little bit of bubble in there, but nothing too crazy. And as you can see with the glare, it's kind of showing those scratch marks, but like I said, don't worry because there is a protective film over there. So, alright. So the easiest way to do some of the corners, I've learned, is what you'll do is you'll take a slit on some of these pain in the butt corners. I like to cut straight out. That way it kind of makes a lip. So you want to make a lip with some of the things so it doesn't, like, so say I were to wrap right around here, it'd kind of leave that point right there. So I'll cut that little tiny piece out. That way it doesn't show. So let's kind of wrap this around with some heat and go from there. Alright. Get the front of it. We'll squeegee everything out. Get it nice and warm. Alright. So we got a little bubble right there. Alright. And some bubbles will be a pain in the butt to get. So don't worry, you just kind of have to put a little bit of force behind them to kind of push them out of there. So alright. Let's get a little bit more heat on there. Work on getting that wrapped around. Alright. And then, like I said before, if you want to make it easier, just kind of go to your corner and cut it out. Just to kind of help you wrap it around those corners better. And sometimes when you use heat, it won't work with you all the best. So just kind of take your time so you don't mess it up. Alright. And we do have a little bit of access here, so we'll trim some of that back. There we go. Alright. So let's get that corner wrapped around. Alright. Just like that. So you kind of get a nice, real clean wrap around that corner, which looks, you know, pretty good in the end. So, and it doesn't have to be perfect because some of it will be covered up, but you just kind of have to go with what you're comfortable with. And if, I mean, like I said, you know, this is my first time ever doing it, so it will not be the best. So, Alright, let's get this corner cut right here. Right there. So we'll heat that up again. That way that corner forms. Alright. Perfect. Perfect. Alright, now let's get some more of this top done. And then we'll kind of work our way to the bottom to work with that bigger bubble that we were dealing with. So, and that. And when you don't get that corner perfect, it will always cause a little bit of issues on the corner. So you can just go in and fix it just a tad bit. That way, it laps over just like that. Alright. Let's get that wrapped over. Alright. Not too bad, not too bad. And we got a little bit of alright. Let's work our way down. And let's kind of get that corner fixed. Hold on 1 second, guys. So right here, kind of get some of that excess off. Bam. And we will cut some of this extra right here. That way it's not so bulky in the end. So, because the less, the better. Alright. Wrap that right around the corner. Alright, so here's kind of how the top's gonna look towards the end. Really nice and smooth up top. Not bad, not bad at all. So, and let's get this bottom. And like I said, we'll cut some of this up. But not too much, because you don't want to lose your space to wrap over. Because if you lose that, then you'll have to completely restart. Because you want it to overlap a little bit so it doesn't peel off when you're driving down the road. Because if it starts to peel off, then you'll get all the bubbles in it, and then it'll start fogging up, and then it'll just kind of be a waste of time and money that you did it. And you don't want that. You want it to last as long as possible and look good. So, alright, we still got a little bit of bubble right there, but that's alright. Alright. Just be careful not to get too close to the light because you don't want to cut that light and scratch it up. Alright, let's get that. Alright. And we're on the last little bit. So, and then I'll kind of show you how to pull up the film a little bit, because when you start to wrap around the corners, it does get a little bit tricky, but there's an easy way to kind of get to it if you're careful. So. And once you get it warm enough, you'll be able to really get those bubbles out. So, right there. And sometimes with some of these really pain in the butt curves, you'll have to do a little cut in 2 different spots just so it sets right and it doesn't sit there and try and peel it back up. Alright. Just like that. Kind of take the squeegee a little bit. Kind of go back over, kind of help get those bubbles out, just in case they come back in. Because every now and then, if you heat it up, then it will kind of form a couple more bubbles, and that's all right. You just kind of work with them, and they'll eventually go away. So. Alright. And like I said, you just need to put some force behind it to get those bubbles out, because they are kind of a pain in the butt. Alrighty. So that looks like it's going to be the best to my ability to get them around, because it doesn't look like the rest of these bubbles are budging. Let's see if we can try and get just a little bit more heat ran through them and see if that helps. Sometimes it will, sometimes it won't, but it's worth a shot. So, alright. And just like that, we have a fog light that's wrapped, and now all we need to do is peel off the protective film. Alright, so the easiest way to do it, so if you do have a little bit of a corner that's still sticking up, which is kind of be normal with some of these cheaper films, you just kind of mess with it a little bit, and eventually it'll peel that film back. And sometimes you want to get your knife in there. There. Like that. Alright. And just be careful when peeling that up, because you don't want to mess up the progress you already did when wrapping the corners and stuff. Because it will start to peel that back if you do it too fast. So just kind of take your time. Slowly peel it up just to make sure you're not messing up all that progress. So like this, we'll just use a little bit more heat because it's not sticking all the way. probably the best it's gonna be. So, alright. Alright, we'll get that film right there. Alright. Just kind of, like I said, just take your time on those corners because it will try and peel those back up. So you got to be really, really careful. Alright. And like I said, this is not going to be my best work because this is my first time ever doing a fog light. So it will be crappy. But it just takes time. The more you do it, the better you'll get at it. So, as you can see, there are quite a bit of bubbles in here if you look at it just right. But sometimes those will go away with heat over time if they're sitting on the car. So, but for now, this will be okay. I'm not too upset about it because it does look good besides some of the bubbles. But with that being said, we'll get to the other one.